All right, welcome to another episode of F1 News, always laced with just a hint of laughter. So today we're going to start off by talking about the situation with Leclerc. Leclerc has been in Ferrari for 7 years, and according to news reports, in the last race in Spain, in which he qualified, I think he qualified, what was it, P7. He said that he did that on purpose because for tire strategy, he had a tire strategy where he would not do as well in the qualifying, but he would make up for it in the race. But when it was time for him to pass Hamilton, Hamilton wasn't moving out quick enough, and his team didn't give the go ahead. And apparently, he was complaining that Hamilton's pace is too slow. I don't know if he mentioned Hamilton directly, but the gist was that he's too slow. You guys got to put me around him and everything. And the idea is that it looks like he's blaming Hamilton. Now, I said before that if you're qualifying behind Hamilton, yes, Hamilton should move if you have better pace. But Leclerc needs to do better. Even on a strategy, he needs to do better than P7. Also, in Monaco, I think Hamilton out qualified him also, but he had better pace in the race. So it looks like Leclerc is having good race pace, but because of the problems with the Ferrari, he may be doing strategies to compromise his qualifying. But that's still no excuse. Look at Verstappen. Verstappen every weekend finds a way to come as to get P1 in qualifying or get top 10 qualifying, no matter what the car is, and hustle. So Leclerc's going to have to do better. He's going to have a killer instinct, and he's going to have to do the impossible. He's going to have to, well, not the impossible. He's definitely going to have to qualify Hamilton, no matter what his strategy is, rather than complain about Hamilton's being slow. Because by complaining about Hamilton being slow, he's complaining about variables he can't control. He has to take control. He needs to step his game up. We know he's a great driver. He's just as fast as Verstappen. He's a good defensive driver, but he's going to have to check all boxes, work on his start, work on his one lap qualifying pace, everything, and not hide behind the story of, oh, I did strategy with tires. Everybody does that. The expectation for him is to out qualify Hamilton no matter what. What do you think, Kunle? Yeah.
Yes, and there's the reason I feel that he's doing all this back chatter to and fro with Hamilton is if you look at the teams, McLaren and Ferrari are the two teams where car two is right up car one's Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's causing all kinds of problems. And that's why Norris is now looking unsure because now we don't know whether it's Piastri or Norris. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why Leclerc feels probably threatened that even though he's doing well in Ferrari, Hamilton in his first season is right up his Jackson. I mean, they're not far off each other in points. And
Yeah.
although Hamilton hasn't had a podium finish, he's the highest team without fastest
And
driver that
he's
hasn't
won
got
a
a
sprint
podium.
race too. He's won a
Yeah,
sprint race.
he's won a sprint race. He's the fastest driver that hasn't got a podium. And yeah, so Leclerc needs to say things like this to make the drivers feel that I am car one, to make the team say, Leclerc,
Yeah.
you are car one. But the noise that Hamilton is making behind him is quite loud in terms of
You mean the noise that
capturing.
Leclerc is making or Hamilton?
Yeah,
Who are
and,
you talking
and
about?
Hamilton has been getting progressively better. Although, from what we understand, his body language has not improved. Hamilton as a driver is still very negative at Ferrari. He's still not happy with his engineers. He's still having arguments, with the racing members of the racing team, as we've discussed earlier. He should be able to pick him off more than he has done. But Hamilton, despite all his problems, is not that far off Leclerc. He should, look at how the gap between Antonelli and Russell, or the gap between Verstappen and
Yeah,
is it Tsunoda?
Tsunoda, yeah.
This gap is just not there with Ferrari. And Ferrari, there's no.
The thing is that I'll give Leclerc credit. I think he's gotten 3 podiums in the last 4 races or whatever. And so he's doing well. But once again, he's just going to have to. I guess his complaining is, like Kunle said, to try to stamp his authority. But what he needs to do is focus, shut up and focus. Like I never see Verstappen throwing his teammates under the bus. He always tells them, "Oh, he always says on the news, it's the car, it's not the teammate." That they should have kept. They should have kept Checo. He said so. Then he said they should have kept Lawson, and now he's defending Yuki. So Leclerc needs to focus. And we saw Leclerc get a little bit frustrated. Remember when he bumped Verstappen last race? So
Yeah.
he's getting frustrated because of the car, and he's now thinking he needs to become more aggressive. But there's different types of aggression that can help you. Bumping into people or complaining and whining is not going to do it. Yeah, he has to sit down and also give feedback to the team and find out what the right setup can be for him. What do you think, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, just even go back to what you said about, like in the last qualifying, he came
Yeah,
seventh in Q3, and
yeah.
he could have actually even come second or third, but he decided to stay out for the last run. Like maybe he was trying to prove a point right there, or a point was actually being proven that even though he qualified seventh, but he was still able to overtake Hamilton and actually
Mm-hmm.
do a better race than Hamilton. So he was probably trying to show the team and everybody that I'm actually better than Hamilton. That you guys are, maybe Hamilton gets a lot of privileges
Yeah,
and
Hamilton keeps getting so
and
much attention and everything. Yeah, and
yeah. So he actually, a point was proven, whether he did it or on purpose or not. That last qualifying for him coming seventh and then finishing, even like I think he came
so
third.
you think he was trying to prove a point to show them, which is okay.
Yes,
But
yeah.
did
But
he
then
did he get a podium? He didn't get a podium, did he? He got a podium, right? No.
um, I'm not sure, but I think he did. I think he did.
Yeah, which
Yes.
is good. Yeah. So
But
that's a
okay,
good result.
but then again, one thing about Hamilton, in Hamilton's defense, he's still trying to get used to that car. I mean, it's obvious. He's
Yeah,
struggling with that car.
even though I like to make fun of Hamilton, it's not just his age. This is a big jump for him to go to a new car, especially since they changed that car. They changed the suspension, and the car has.
Yeah.
And even Nico Rosberg has said it. That car out of the top five teams is the worst car this year.
You see, and I'm sure Hamilton was expecting a different car. I mean, was expecting the car that he saw last year. He didn't expect to see this car that they gave him,
Yeah,
and then
I
so
blame I blame Vasseur for all of this.
yeah, so that as well. But I'm sure soon when Hamilton gets the knack of that car, then to be a different story between two of them, But at the meantime, they should actually factor in that fact that Leclerc is better than Hamilton in the car for the moment. So they shouldn't waste time in all that, in swapping places when they can, make good points and
Yeah, no, yeah, they need to get the action. But I understand what you're saying. And to be honest with you, there's no way Leclerc was going to beat. He came third in Spain. There's no way, and he's come third several times. There's no way he's going to beat the McLaren guys. So
yeah,
nothing's really lost. But it's just a news point that you have a teammate. Both of these guys, Hamilton needs to do better with the way he talks to his radio engineer, and
yeah,
Leclerc needs to focus a little bit more and not complain to him. I know he's frustrated, and what I'm saying he should do is subtle. It's not like Leclerc is doing something wrong, but just sort of like just get to work, man. Try to see what you can
yeah,
do now to beat if you can get a win this year. That should be his goal, to get a win or to see if he can disrupt the McLaren. And also, he still has
McLaren,
to
yeah,
focus on beating Verstappen, because if not for that bad tire mistake and Verstappen putting on hard tires, Verstappen would have beaten Leclerc. So I'm just saying that he just needs to
yeah.
focus a little bit more. And in general, the Ferrari team, they need to get serious now. And
That's right.
if in the next couple of races, if they can't, if Leclerc keeps getting on podium, fine. But if it's clear that they're going to lose to McLaren this year, they really need to have a team meeting um, during the summer break and say, okay, are we going to focus on 2026? And they need to figure out and everybody needs to be involved. Just because you're a driver doesn't mean you don't need to know what type of move changes they're going to make in the car. The drivers should know what the spec changes are for next year, and they should start consulting and determine what's going on. And it's clear to me that right now Ferrari has Leclerc as the number one driver, because several times this year when Leclerc is behind Hamilton, they tell Hamilton to give him the place.
To
So they
swap,
should just
yeah,
stop pretending and just tell Hamilton, okay, if I were Vasseur, I'll say, we're going to make Leclerc the number one driver for this year because he knows the car better.
exactly. Yeah, do that.
And then in next year we rewind. It's on
Yeah,
competition.
yeah.
Next year's competition.
That's yeah,
I think Hamilton, when they say sorry, and they need to be respectful. Sorry, Hamilton. We're not trying to say that it's your driving. What we're saying is that right now Leclerc is more used to this car. Let's go all out for him. But next year it's you and him fighting for the title next year. 0-0.
yeah.
What do you think, Kule? Yeah.
Yeah, but Hamilton doesn't even have patience for that because he's 40 going on 41. Every year could be your last year once you're in those kind of age groups.
Yeah,
Also,
but this year is
drivers are
over. You have to be
naturally,
realistic. This year is
yeah,
over.
drivers are naturally unreasonable like that.
Yeah.